Hi, my name is Griffin, and I'd like to tell you a story about what happened to me when I employed Miles Grady and Nicholas Holmes in my company Griffin Finance, which I founded and financed some years ago. We later changed it to Harrington Brooks, and this is as quick as I can, the story. Um, Basically, I founded a company, brought Nick and Miles in. It was called Griffin Finance. I brought Nick and Miles in to run sales and the bookkeeping side. Nick was a mobile phone salesman. Miles worked at CAS Insurance. Both had never had a business before, and I just thought two, they'd work well together, sales and bookkeeping. Um, the company went from strength to strength. It went very well. We got to a point where, I got to a point where I wanted to go on television and make it a household name, etc., etc. Nick and Miles came to me 8 years later. Um, at the beginning, I gave them 25% each, and they came to me and said they wanted to, pull out. And I said, in God's name, why? And they said, it's just not. We don't want to do this. And I said, well, it boiled down to a negotiation. They wanted more shares. So in doing this, I gave them 33% each. So it's a three-way split. Unfortunately for myself, and being naive at the time, I didn't realise I'd given them the voting rights, because 33 and 33 equals 66, which outvote me at 33. So, very long story short, 8 years later, all sorts of things have been done. New companies bought, changed the name. Nick had brought his brother on board. I didn't know a thing about any of this. They didn't inform me as the major shareholder, which they have a fiduciary duty to inform me of any changes, to the company, which wasn't the case at all. I went on 8 years later. They came to me and said, "Look, we know you're working in America. Would you like to sell your shares? We can raise X amount." The X amount was valued on what they told me the company was making through emails and accounts Miles had showed me. I didn't see the original accounts ever, which was so stupid of me, but there it is. I trusted them, they were friends. I brought on, at the start, I'd known them for many years, and Miles was a neighbour. 8 years later, they came to me and said, "Would you like to sell your shares? And we know you want to move to America. We know, we know you want to expand the company. We don't. We want to keep it small as a family business." And I said, "Well, okay. Based on the figures we worked out, my shares were worth 1.25 million, which I accepted. But before I accepted, a friend of mine who works and is an owner of Baines and Ernst said, 'Are you sure you're doing the right thing? Because it's all a bit sudden. Why would they come to you after all this time and want to aggressively buy your shares so quickly?'" Um, and I thought to myself, okay, well, I don't believe they would ever rip me off, but I'll ask them to sign an embarrassment clause, which is basically if they know of anything that could value my shares higher, i.e. there's a deal in the pipeline or they're looking for investment, funding, whatever, then I would get the money back if there was an uplift in the profits. Nick said to me, "How could you say that to us? How could you ask us to sign this? This is really, really upsetting. I swear on my child's life," he said. He was having a baby at the time, or had a baby. And I was embarrassed, I was ashamed, and I just said, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I just thought it was a bit sudden." They said, "No, it's only because we know you've been to America and you want to leave." And I thought, okay, and I went along with it. The next thing I know is all over the newspaper that Harrington Brooks or a part of it had been sold for anything between 15 and 20 million plus. I don't know the actual figure to this day because they set up so many subsidiary companies. I can't get an exact figure. But anyway, so my shares were, were, I don't even know how to put it into words, but I was ripped off, by friends, which was very upsetting. So instead of getting angry, I was very depressed. I was actually so depressed I became ill. I moved down to the south coast of England and I just forgot about it. And then I had a terrible ordeal when King Leg came into my life, and an awful accident happened, which I'll prove in court. I can't talk about it on YouTube, but anyway, it's a horrific thing happened, and she passed away in her sleep, which I can't talk about. Sorry, but anyway, when this happened, I was suing Miles and Nick civilly for all my money, and this came to a stop because of what happened. Now, when Miles found out about this, his words were, and I quote, "I've never had better news." Now, I'm speechless. I mean, Miles basically I'm assuming he said this because it stopped the legal action against him. But to do that and say that under those circumstances, with Kinger's life lost, was something. It was monstrous. But anyway, yeah, I took them on as bookkeeper salesman. I gradually got my confidence and trust in them. And then eventually they did what they did. And then all over Twitter and all over all the different social networking sites, mainly commercial ones, Miles brags, or not brags, but states he founded Harrington Brooks. He was a clever internet guru, which was not the case. He knew nothing about the internet, nothing about search optimization. It was all me. And now he's doing relentless blogs from anything from football to Rubik's Cube to try and push these complaints off the front page. When I got my health back, I got released and got my freedom back, I set about using what I wrote originally, canyoutrustthem.com, to name and shame and claim against people like them. Now, it's doing very well. I don't make a penny from it. It's not done for that reason. It's done just to stop people like Miles and Nick getting away with things. I mean, if somebody went into a shop and stole 7 million, they'd probably get 15, 20 years in prison. Yet they run around setting up new companies, and anyway, that's all going to change. But in the meantime, I've blogged, obviously, which you can see if you Google Miles' name, how powerful Can You Trust Them is, and the various other sites. And Miles is trying to stop legally people like Google allowing freedom of speech, so people can get away with anything. So I've just done a video and it was cut off because it was too long, and this one's already 7 minutes, so I'll cut this one short. But do not trust these men. Whatever you do not trust these men with money. It was the worst mistake I ever made. Even my own girlfriend, said to me, "What are you doing? Don't trust them." And I was stupid. I did. Look on Company's House. You'll see that Miles did not find he was not the founder of the company. It was called Griffin Finance, which obviously is my name. Well before he came along. And then we've got his new company. Miles has never been trained, as long as I've known him, in anything to do with tax. He was always sales and telesales manager and bookkeeper for the Harrington Brooks and Griffin Finance and AllClearFinance. We never came across tax situations, but yeah, he set up this company giving tax advice, which is pretty frightening. You'll find out in future what's going to happen there. But we have a situation where the truth always comes out, as the old saying goes, and here it is. So I hope you listen to this, I hope you watch this, and I hope you look into their background, Google them, can you trust them? I've set up a site called Pay Matters Complaints, because when Harrington Brooks was deregulated for VAT, he kept all the money. All the money went to the directors, which should have gone back to the clients. Millions of pounds has been charged since, and the clients have never been told that the debt management companies, or we had and many others, got deregulated but didn't reduce their payments, as they should have done, because they do no longer need to charge VAT. Miles blogged about paying extra for brochures, which is, I mean, paying an extra few £100 for VAT on brochures compared to millions in VAT payments is just crazy. So there you have it. I'm on 9 minutes, and that's my story. It's totally true. It will come out. as it is doing, just please, if you're going to part with any amount of money or let them deal with anything like your payroll, look into their history, speak to people from business with them, read my story, go online, check Companies House, do due diligence on them, use a company that's been going longer, and you have to have really a tax lawyer who understands the intricate changes of tax. At the moment it's changing so much. Don't fall like other people have in other blogs. So that's it, thank you. My name's Ian Griffin and I'm signing off, and I hope this helps. Thank you.